One of the biggest advancements in today's digital mixing technology is the ability to automate and control various aspects of your mix. The ability to change the way the mix sounds and reacts at any point within your project has opened so many doors in the world of audio production that there is simply no way to discuss them all. However, the biggest notable advantage is the ability to alter and edit the mix to sound perfect at every part of the song. Whereas normally you would have to have several hands on deck, helping you tweak the console during certain changes or breaks, automation allows you to fine-tune every spot and simply play it back exactly as you set it. So in this movie tutorial, we're going to cover over Nuendo's extremely powerful automation engine for the VST channel mixer and ways to make best use of it. There are two ways to work with the automation system within Nuendo. The first method is directly from within the VST channel mixer. This is where you have the ability to enable and create automation data by simply moving and tweaking the graphical objects in each channel. This also includes any real-time changes you make to your plugin effects and instruments. The second method for working with automation is from within the project editor. Each track in the project editor has the ability to show or hide its automation tracks. With the automation track in view, automation data is visually displayed for you to see and edit as needed. You can also manually draw in automation using the automation tracks if you need to perform something that is more specific or very detailed. You also have numeric information displayed on each point within the automation data, allowing for very fine editing of your automation points. You can have as many automation tracks as you like visible at any time, and you can change the type of automation data that is currently shown by an automation track. This is handy if you have tons of automation going on in a track and you don't necessarily want to make each track visible. You can choose which parameter you want to view for a single automation track. Okay, now that we understand the main areas for working with automation, let's dig deeper into the main function and tools in the automation engine. The first step to creating and using automation is using the Read-Write Automation button to set the automation mode for a track. You'll also notice that each plugin window has its own Read-Write Automation button to make it very easy to enable automation for any plugin parameters you want to tweak. Enabling the write mode is all you have to do to begin recording automation. You can enable write mode for a single track or a group of tracks. You can even enable it for the entire mixer using the global write button. Once write mode is on, you only need to play the song in order to record the automation. Recording automation does not require you to enable record mode on the playback transport. If you happen to be using a control surface, then Nuendo will also record your physical fader movements, pan pots, mutes, solos, and any plugin parameters you may have assigned to special knobs or pots. Once you're done recording the automation, then you turn off the write mode and enable the read mode. This now tells Nuendo to read and play back the automation data that you've just recorded. When the automation plays back, you also get visual feedback of the parameters being automated, making it easy to see what's going on within your mix. If your control surface has flying faders or other objects with visual feedback, then your control surface will physically respond to the automation control as it plays back from within Nuendo. When recording automation, since the transport is in playback mode, you can use the cycle mode to continue to play back a certain range and layer automation as well. If you want to manually draw in data, then there is no need to enable the write mode. All you do is enable the read mode from within the automation track in the project editor, and this activates the automation edit track. Using the draw tool, you can draw in your automation data. If you need to add specific points to be more accurate, you can use the select tool to click in individual automation points. That's pretty much all there is to recording automation and playing it back. However, there's a lot more to help enhance this basic functionality, including ways to edit and access the automation data. So let's dig a little deeper. First, there are several different modes in which you can record automation data. These modes are accessed from the Automation Mode toolbar window that is located at the top of the project editor. I'll briefly explain each one for you. Touch mode simply means that automation recording begins the very instant you click on a mixer object. Recording stops as soon as you let go of the mouse. If your controller surface has touch-sensitive faders, then this function would also apply to you putting your finger on the fader and letting go of the fader. Auto latch mode works the same way. However, it doesn't stop recording until you hit stop on the transport or you disable the write automation mode. Crossover mode stops recording as soon as you reach any point where previous recorded automation data exists. The last two modes only pertain to volume automation and do not affect other parameters being automated. The first of these is the overwrite mode, which will begin recording automation data immediately and will overwrite any existing automation data, regardless of whether or not you actually click on a mixer object. This is useful if you need to erase existing data or capture the current position of a mixer object as an automation point. The trim mode is a very handy feature for editing and adjusting the overall automation data you have created. Here's how it works. I simply want to adjust the volume of the entire fade while keeping the actual automation data intact. First, we activate trim automation mode. Then, I'll set my left and right locators to cover the range that I want to change. Then I'll activate the write automation mode for the track. When you do this, the channel fader centers itself immediately. This then allows you to adjust the entire automation data up or down the volume scale. If you look, the automation curve and shape stays the same, but simply trims up or down. This feature will definitely come in handy when you've already got the perfect automation curve going for a track, but it simply needs to be lower or higher in the overall mix. Now let's quickly look over the features in the actual automation track listing in the project editor. Aside from the read-write automation buttons, we also have a mute automation and lock automation track. Mute automation allows you to disable a particular automation track without affecting the rest of the automation tracks. Normally, you would just turn off the read automation mode for the entire track, but this ends up disabling all the automation for the entire track, instead of using the mute automation, which just disables the automation for a single automation track instead of all of the automation. Using the lock button simply locks a track from any edit abilities. For each automation track you make visible, you can choose which automation parameter is currently viewed. By default, Nuendo provides you with a small list of the first 15 parameters. If you don't see the parameter that you're looking for listed, then you can choose the More option and a dialog window appears. In this window, you have the ability to add a parameter to the viewable list. Nuendo organizes all the available options into subcategories, making it easy for you to find what you're looking for. In this example, I'm looking for a specific parameter for one of my insert plugins. So we'll go into the insert category, and there we can see all the insert plugins listed. From there you can dig deeper and find all the parameters available for that plugin that can be automated. As we mentioned before, since automation data is actually recorded and kept within the automation tracks within the project editor, this allows you to treat and edit the automation similar to how you edit audio and MIDI events. You'll find that many of the same editing tools work with the automation data. One of my favorite tools to use with automation data is the range tool. By using the range tool and snapping to the grid, you can cut, copy, and paste automation data as if they were quantized grid events. For example, here I had this cool synth sound with some pretty intense panning automation going on. I want to use that same panning automation on another track as well, but I want to keep it quantized to the grid since the automation is created in sync with the project tempo. So first we'll select the range tool. Then we activate the snap to grid function. This ensures that my movements when using the range tool are snapped to the bars and beats grid. Next, I'll highlight a 4-bar section of the panning automation data. Then we click and hold down with the left mouse button, and then immediately hold down the Alt key on a PC or the Option key on the Mac, and then drag the data over to the new track. Since the grid option is on, it will ensure that my movements stay in sync with the grid. There, now I've pasted that automation data over to the new track. Another very cool tool that can be used in very creative ways with automation is the line tool. Using just the line tool, you can create quick and easy ramps for your automation data. But when you start using the other available line shapes, things can get very interesting. For example, you can use the sine tool to create smooth sweeping panning effects by just dragging in the tool and drawing it out. Nuendo will automatically create the sine wave shaped automation data for you. To take this even further, let's say we wanted the sweeping pan effect to be in sync with the beat. All we have to do is turn on our snap to grid function, set the timeline grid to show bars and beats, set the grid type to the appropriate grid value, and Nuendo will automatically snap the automation data we draw based on the tempo grid. Panning is just the beginning. Imagine using this for cool filter sweeps or modulation-based effects. The possibilities are endless. So in closing, you can see just how powerful Nuendo's automation engine is. It offers you both a hands-on and visual approach to creating, editing, and working with your automation data. With the ability to automate just about every aspect of the VST channel mixer, the possibilities to make your mix just right are endless.